Rochelle, how did you find carnivore?
Well, really, it was all by accident. Um, I had some stomach issues that hit me back in what was it, 2019. Um, and I remember exactly where I was when everything started. Now, I didn't know it was stomach issues at the time. Of course, before that, I was taking Tums a lot because I had a lot of indigestion and acid, or upset stomach and stuff. But I didn't connect it. But it was in November. It was either the first or second Monday in November. And I was taking care of my horse. And I'm walking down the alleyway after I'd put the hose away from filling up for water. And it felt like something went in. I breathed something in and it stabbed my throat. And then after that, I developed a cough. And I had a cough for a while. And I always heard that if you have a cough, you should get it checked out if it's for any period of time. Well, then they said something about acid reflux and some other stuff because they couldn't really find anything. And then from that point on, of course, COVID hit. So I was kind of restricted on treatment plans and all that. But so it was all online. And over 20 and 21, it was just like, well, what's going on? They haven't told me anything specifically. They kept mentioning acid reflux. They were giving me drugs that was treating like GERD and stuff. That they give me the omeprazole and stuff. And then I was just trying. I was taking the medication so I could eat what I love to eat. I'm a food addict, just like, we're recovering alcoholic. Whatever goes in my mouth is going to stay there, right? It's good. It's feed it in or shove it down, whatever you want to call it. Um, and then in 22, it was about March or April. I don't remember. It was early. Um, I had some issues. I woke up and I had some issues and I thought something was wrong with my heart. And I was having panic attacks and I was just feeling really ill and shortness of breath and everything. And it was started in the evening, late in the evening, and it went all day the next day. And then finally in the afternoon, I said, "Take me to the emergency room. I'm done feeling this way." And so they did all the normal EKG stuff and all that good stuff. And they said, "Well, have you ever been diagnosed with acid reflux or anything like that? What are you being treated for?" And so I mentioned that. And I go, "Well, they chalked it up acid reflux and anxiety." I go, "Are you kidding me?" Really? So they gave me some drugs for the anxiety and told me to call my doctor and keep taking the I think it was a meprazole at that time that I was taking. And after that, it was like I spiraled down and I just started cutting out a lot of food because I couldn't stand anything. And within about, within about 2 months, I had lost 30 pounds because I couldn't eat anything. I mean, I really did an elimination and it wasn't intentional. It was every time I ate something, I'd get sick and I didn't want to get sick. And it's just like, what the heck is going on? And then, of course, I'm still going through the kind of treatments, if you will, with the doctors going back and forth. That it takes several months to get appointments and everything. And then in the summer, I actually started looking at other research, and I connected with a book. Ran into a video with Dr. Fung for fasting, so I started doing some research with fasting, and then it just kind of took me down, for lack of a better description, rabbit hole. And I was, looking at different people doing fasting and then getting to the heart of the matter rather than putting band aid fixes on it. And eventually, I guess it was near around the end of summer, I came across carnivore doctors. And Dr. Barry was the first one, and then Sean Baker. And actually, Sean Baker did the carnivore diet. And I ended up getting that book and I just started doing more research focused on the carnivore end of that. And I'm going, maybe this will work. And then in the same process, the doctors are giving me something different. They're giving me propranolol. I guess it's a more extreme form of omeprazole. And then, I'm going through and I'm doing research. Well, maybe. And then, of course, I get the brain ideas. Well, what about the cholesterol? My cholesterol's good. All my blood work is good. And then I start hearing about the cholesterol. Well, maybe it's not as bad as they try to make us believe. And I went, well, and this started about November. And I'm said, coming into January and stuff. And it's just like, I don't want to be on these drugs. I really don't, because it messes everything up. And I said, I'm going to have to try this carnivore. I've eliminated all this other stuff. And I've actually lost weight, which is a good thing. And I thought, well, maybe I should try this. I did that for 3 months. Maybe I should try it. Maybe I should try it. And then finally on March 9th of 24, 2 years ago, yeah, 20, no, 23. Um, I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to try it. And I just stopped doing what I was doing. And I set out a plan. I wrote out a plan with the propranolol, whatever it is, that GERD medication. And I set out a plan how I was going to wean off it, which I gave myself about 8 weeks to wean off of it because they said, you don't just stop. And I said, oh, that was probably what happened before, because I had problems, going off and on the omeprazole because I didn't want to take it. So I laid out a plan on how I was going to wean myself off the medication, and I started the carnivore. And it took me over 3 months to make that decision, but when I did it, uh, everything changed. And I was weaning myself. I didn't go through because I was already really low carb by then. I didn't go through what I guess it's called a keto flu, when you dump all the carbs and you get some type of reaction with your system kind of flushing and stuff. I didn't have that. And so after the first month or so, am I doing this right? I didn't have a keto flu. But anyway, after a while, I really started feeling different. And I was really listening to myself and saying, well, I can eat this, I can eat that, don't eat that, don't eat that. And as I was weaning off the medication, when I got near the end of my schedule that I made for it, I thought, oh, well, I could just stop it now. I'm feeling so good. But I didn't. I went ahead and completed. I said, no, you're going to do this the right way. And then, of course, that was like in the April, May by then, in May, maybe early June. And things just really started changing for me after that. But my finding carnivore was because I had to make a change. I couldn't eat the way I was eating because it made me sick. And the thing about it is it scared me enough that it sent me to the emergency room. Or I shouldn't say it sent me. I took myself to the emergency room. That's how scared I was. And even to this day, the symptoms scare me. So I just make sure, nope, I know how I'm going to feel if I eat that. So I'm not going to touch it. So I'm kind of blessed in that way. And if I may throw a little, little note in here, it's a little on spiritual stuff, but all of 2019 before this happened, I was praying because I was overweight. I was, 230 pounds and out of shape, not walking around and doing anything, not really active, a little bit with a horse, but nothing major. I prayed almost every day. Please give me strength and the courage to take better care of myself, to quit shoving food in my mouth and have more control over what I eat. Be careful what you pray for. Believe me. But but anyway, I had to throw that in there because I honestly believe that there was some intervention there, and left to my own devices, being a addict the way I am, uh, I wouldn't be where I am today. 2 years ago in August, I started walking, and I got up to 3 miles a day. And I did that. I did stop, a little bit this year because we had some major snow, and I'm not going to walk in the snow and ice. But I walk. I don't walk the 3 miles. I figure 2 miles is good enough. So just as long as I'm getting out there doing something. Um, and I'm still doing an experiment. You know, I still experiment with foods, and then I have it's called famotidine. It's over the counter. The what I have isn't currently, but I can get it over the counter. And so if I have something that gives me the symptoms, which is typically, it almost feels like a shortness of breath or something's blocking my breathing. I don't know how other way to describe it. I just take a famotidine that relieves it, and then I go, it's because of what you ate. Can't eat that.
Right.
So
Yeah. So, when in 2019 you were about 230 pounds, like, what are you now?
do I have to say? I'm in the 170s, the low 70s.
Wow.
So yeah,
So you dropped like 60 pounds. Wow.
easily.
And how tall are you?
I'm about 5'5", 5'5"
Five
and a
five.
half.
Right. Um, so the like you got off the propantazole, and like that hasn't been a problem coming off that. Like everything's okay.
No, I did the weaning. Like I said, I did it. It was about 8 weeks. I'd have to look back because I have it still written down in my journal. But it was about 8 weeks. They said you don't just go off of it because it makes it worse. And I had jumped off of omeprazole a couple of times, and looking back, yeah, it was worse. But I wanted to wean off it properly, so I did. I set up a schedule and I weaned myself off of it until I was like on one a week or something like that. I said, okay, I'm done. But yeah.
Right. Wow. And around that time when you've started carnivore, you finally weaned off the meds, were other things improving as well for you? Like, were you finding like you're obviously walking a lot more now, so energy was improving, things like that?
Yeah, my energy really improved obviously with the walking because I was not an exercise person. I'm still not, but you know what? I enjoy going out for a walk and I take the dogs out for walks, and it really improved my energy level. Another thing that I've noticed, and I'm, do a lot of reminiscing now and looking back, that you know, at the time, the scale wasn't moving, because I've been overweight my whole life. And so when I really started, I've been up and down a yo yo and stuff. But when I really started, yeah, everybody's talking about losing weight and stuff like that. So I'd get on the scale and watch the scale. And then I'd hear comments about, well, don't watch the scale, look at your body, see how you feel and stuff. And so I started watching my body and I noticed the structure has changed. And it's just like, I don't need to lose weight. I think I look a lot better than I did. And then my skin tone. I mean, I have a sister. I look, I probably look, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. This is my opinion. Over 20 years younger, and we're only about 6 years apart, you know? And
Wow.
yeah, and that's my opinion though, I could be wrong. Compare me. But and I don't know, just a lot of things, just the pain, especially the pain, the whatever inflammation and everything. That's the biggest thing that I noticed because before, when I try to walk or do something, it would hurt from my waist down. And I attribute it, well, I'm fat, so that's why I hurt. Has nothing to do with my weight at all. Nothing. Because when I turned carnivore, when I stopped eating all the foods that inflame me, which is plant foods basically, um, all the pain went away, all of it. And when I experiment, like almonds, I can't eat at all because almonds create a ton of pain for me. Like I said, I experiment. Um, but almonds, I don't even touch almond flour because I know. I have almonds, and I tried it. Well, I love nuts, get a little extra protein, a little snack that's not really bad for you. Well, for me it is bad, because it just creates so much pain from the waist down. And I'm going, nope, because I can't even walk when I do that. I'll put on my walking shoes and my walking dress, and go out walking, and it's just like, oh, this hurts, the top of my feet and stuff. And that was the biggest thing I really noticed right off the bat, was the pain. And it's all attributed, my pain is through plant food. Every time I eat plant food, my feet hurt. My feet, my ankles, and my legs hurt.
Wow. Um, and so, like you mentioned your sister before.
Mhm.
Um, has anyone around you kind of said, "Hey, you're looking better. You're looking younger. What are you doing?"
Well, it's kind of funny. My son actually does. And, when I first started this, well, he was a part, I kind of stayed with him off and on because I sold my house back in 21. So I kind of stayed with him off and on before I got settled where I'm at right now. And so he didn't say a bunch changes, because I was overweight and everything with him. But being away, every time I go and see him, because it's usually a few months, he goes, "Mom, you're looking really good." He always tells me that. And it's just like, uh, my sister, not so much, and for her own reasons, I'm sure. But my son, he does. And when I don't see people for a while, like my niece, she goes, "You look great." I go, "Well, thank you. I'm glad to know that what I'm doing is working." you know well, just everything about, just the way I look, and my energy, and how I feel. It's just changed everything. I It's amazing. It really is. And I'm
Mm.
learning stuff all the time, even after what I'm over 2.5 years into it now. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, just about just over 2.5 years. And I'm still learning a lot.
So, do you feel like you're more in touch with your body and what your body needs, and like you can kind of respond to what it's telling you now?
Yeah, matter of fact, about the last 8 months. That's about the last 8 months. I've become hypersensitive to how my body reacts. And I've also recognized how long it takes me to recover. So, like, what was it? What did I eat? I think it was, I made some fermented cabbage, some cabbage juice. And I thought, fermented foods are supposed to be good for our gut biome, right? And so I made some, and oh, it was so good. I loved it. My body didn't love it. It took me over a week before I realized I'm not having symptoms of it anymore. So I've become so hypersensitive about certain foods that I intake. Like almonds, I know it'd take me a week and a half to get over if I had, a little bowl of almonds or something. But yeah, so I have noticed that. And I still, my addict jumps in every now and then. Oh, oh, here, eat this. Oh, that did good. Let's do it again. you know? So, and then I pay the price for it. And I think ultimately, um, one day when I kind of deal with my addiction part, I still haven't. I haven't gotten there, but when I get through the addictive aspect, I think ultimately I'll end up 100% lion, because that's the only thing is beef. It's really all I can eat. Bacon, I can't eat bacon. I got some raw, I call it raw fresh bacon. It's not processed at all. It's just cut right out of the pig from a butcher. And I tried that, and I started getting some symptoms. and it's just like, I can't have that. And then store-bought bacon has celery in it. It's just like, really? Why would I want celery in my bacon? But yeah, another thing I've noticed is ingredients are getting added into some foods now too, like celery and bacon, which I never noticed before. It's a celery powder or celery extract, and it's just like, wait a minute, that wasn't in there before. So they're enhancing the flavors of foods to, I guess, make them more addictive. I don't know.
So when you talk about, like, your addictions, like, you're much more in control of that now though, right? Like, you're obviously, the fact that you can notice that something's causing a problem and you can go, "Okay, well, that was a mistake, back on carnivore," kind of thing. Um, you're obviously at a much higher level of control now.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I've got I haven't eaten them in years, but I used to love Oreo cookies, right? And I've got Oreo cookies in my pantry, and then they're for the grandchildren or my sister when she comes over. She always asks me for Oreos, but I look at the package every day, and it's just like, no, because I don't have the sugar cravings for one. So thank goodness for that. Um, and yeah, I've got a good handle on it. And then if it's something that I really like, okay, say an avocado, I look at an avocado. Okay, well, how much is it going to hurt? An avocado actually goes down fairly well, actually, but it causes a little bit of pain. So I just look, how much do I want it? That's where the addiction kind of takes over. Is something that I know doesn't bother me a lot, but I want to eat it. But other than that, like if I look at well, bacon, I love bacon, but it's just like I can't eat it. I can't eat it. So yeah, it really depends. And that's where the hypersensitivity has come in, is that, I can look at a food and say, yay or nay, how much do I want to suffer, you know?
Right, right. So what is your diet like day to day now?
So I usually have a ribeye, and then I only eat beef. I can't eat pork, um, or chicken. So I usually have a ribeye and maybe a couple of little beef ribs. Like Walmart, they have little racks for fairly cheap. Uh, and then I sous vide the ribs, sous vide, put them in a hot water bath and let them go for 18 hours. And then I just throw them on the grill, and that's all I eat. If I don't have ribs, then I'll fry up a couple eggs or poach a couple eggs. And then I ate a lot of salt too. I don't know. My body seems to be craving a lot of salt. So.
And so that's just eating once a day?
Once a day, sometimes twice. It depends. I want to get back to once a day. I've been trying to doing like a 22 hour fast, 20 to 22 hour fast, or intermittent fasting, I should say, and just eat once a day. Um, but sometimes I'll get up and I'm hungry. I'm actually famished when I get up, and I'll fix a little bit of hamburger with scrambled eggs. And I cook in either ghee or tallow. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Beef and eggs. Um, until I do my little runoffs of, oh well, let me experiment a little bit with this.
So, could you ever imagine you'd get to this point where you were only eating once or twice a day?
Never, never. It left to my own devices. If I didn't have the issues I had, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have lost the weight that I have. I wouldn't be feeling as good as I do. I wouldn't have learned as much about my body as I have. Um, no, yeah, if you had said something, even back in 2019, before all the doctors, I was at, no, no, I love my mashed potatoes and gravy. Oh, I love my French fries. Yeah, no, I would have never, ever imagined my being where I am today.
It just, I mean, and that actually highlights something that, a lot of the time, the bad experiences or the negative experiences we have through life, actually it's pointing us in the right direction. We find the solution through that.
Exactly. I agree 100%. And, if I had known, well, even if I had known about it, 10 years ago, my stomach wasn't in a position to put me in that place. Like I said, left to my own devices, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would still be eating junk food and Oreo cookies. But, but yeah, I sometimes I get frustrated because, like going for holiday dinners, like we got holidays coming up, right? I can't eat turkey. I've tried eating turkey and it just doesn't sit well with me. So it's just like, okay, so I'm going to go get a prime rib roast. Let them have the turkey. I'll have the prime rib roast, with maybe just a little salt pack on it to keep the juices in. But, and all the fixings, which is wonderful because you got your desserts and everything else. And so I get there's times that I get like, it's not fair. But then I sit back and I think, but you know what? Look at you today. Look at yourself today. Think about how you feel. Think about how you look, the clothes, how your clothes fit you, and everything else. Would you really want to give that up? And I have to be honest. No, I would not. I would
Mm.
not.
And see, the key here as well is, um, that most people just eat the desserts and everything else and the junk all their lives. So when they start feeling the aches and pains and all this kind of thing, getting the acid reflux and all that kind of thing, they just think, well, I'm getting old, so it's a natural part of aging. And it doesn't have to be.
Mm-mm. No, it doesn't. And as a matter of fact, I was watching a video a couple weeks ago, and there's this book that I've never heard about, and they said it's not talked about enough, but it talks about that very thing. And I can't think of the name of the book right now. If you wanted the name, I could go run and grab it. But it talks about that, how we're conditioned that, oh, it's just old age. It's all conditioning. Oh, it's you getting older. And, I get that from my sister a lot. She's going, oh, you wait till you're my age. I go, honey, when I get your age, I'm going to be stronger than I am today. Yeah, no, but we're conditioned to be like that. We really are. And just sit back, oh, take this pill, it'll take care of you. I'm sorry, I'm getting off.
Well, and see, that's the thing about the conditioning. The conditioning works really well for people who want to sell us things, whether it's more ultra processed food or whether it's drugs,
Yeah.
because we think, well, it's just how it is. So we need the drugs.
Yeah.
And it's just how it is. So it doesn't matter what I eat. It's just I pulled the short straw in the genetic lottery.
And that you're absolutely correct. I mean, just to listen to my sister alone talk like that, and then there's a couple other people that are in not good health. They say the same thing, and it's just like proof is in the pudding. Take a good look at me. You can say all you want, but proof is in the pudding. Look at people who have done what I've done and then try to dispute that. I even stopped taking multivitamins because I thought, well, multivitamins make sure, and I've taken them for decades. Make sure that I'm getting all my vitamins and everything. But I stopped taking them, and it was amazing the change. I even felt a change from not taking the vitamins, how much better I felt, you know? And she's like, I don't need that. I get everything I need from the meat, meat and eggs.
Right. So no one around you has said, oh, well, maybe I'll give it a try.
No, no. My son has mentioned it. He goes, Mom, keep doing what you're doing. He's 100% supports me. But he goes, it's just not for me. I like my treats. Well, well, like he has problems every now and then. He loves jalapenos, but he pays dearly for them when he eats them. And whenever he brings it up to me, I go, "Well, you could always do what I do." No, but I love them so much. Well, then you suffer the consequences. you know.
So, assuming someone did come to you and say, "Okay, Rochelle, I'm gonna try it. I'll give it 90 days." How based on your experience, what advice or tips would you give them for starting?
I would tell them that if you're going to do it for 90 days, stick with the 90 days. And if, it's just like I would use the analogy in my recovery from alcoholism is if you don't like it, then you can always go back to misery like you were before. You can go and eat and get back into the misery. Would be one thing. And then the other thing is, just really be aware of what you intake, and maybe you haven't eliminated enough. Like in my case, I can't have butter, but I can have ghee, which is weird. I guess because I cook out the milk solids, maybe. I don't know. Dairy I have a problem with. But, so I'd say, maybe start with really drop everything down to the minimum, just meat, and then add things. Do the meat first and then add one thing, not two things, not three things, just one thing. I always have a problem of adding three things. Anyway, um, and say, just take it slow and really listen to your body and trust. And that's what this book that I was talking about says, trust your body because your body knows what it needs. It really does. And then I would offer, hey, if you need a sounding board, I'd be here and help you any way I can. You know, that would be, I guess, my three things.
Nice. Rochelle, so if people want to reach out to you, do you have any social media or any way of getting in contact?
Well, I have Tripping with Gamma, YouTube channel, and then email, but I won't open up any links or anything like that. They can email me. I think you have my email.
Right. Yeah. No worries. Well, I'll link to those in the show notes. Rochelle,
Okay.
thank you so much for coming back on and letting us know how things are going. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed seeing you again.